Hello family, my name is Chris, I am your home gamer dad, and welcome to my last video for 2024, a look back at the board games that I've played throughout this year, and then of course looking forward to board games that I will be encountering within 2025. A lot of them I know I'm going to be encountering because they are part of Kickstarters that have already been promised that look good to be coming out in 2025, cross fingers. There's also a bunch that have also already been released that I will be playing as well. So sit back and relax. Let's go ahead and pull up our favorite games and end this year right by playing what we love around the table. Well, at least talking about it anyway. So 2024, of course, was a very big year for me when it came to board games. There was a lot of new stuff that came out that I was able to get my hands on in order to play. There was a lot of old stuff as well that came into my life that I didn't know that I needed until I actually had it. Like, it was always in there and everything that was like, oh, I should really try this and see how it is, but I didn't really want to buy it or whatever, but then I ended up getting it. That's for a little bit later in the video when I talk about that. Plus, I was able to talk to a bunch of publishers this year, get my hands on some games, and be able to play them for you and start up a new series on my channel, the Let's Talk About series, where I'm basically doing reviews. I never really considered myself to do reviews, but a lot of people enjoy reviews. I like hearing opinions that people have about games and everything. Plus, it's just nice to be able to play something that may not translate very well, at least with my current setup anyway, sessions and everything like that, but then still get a good idea of how the game plays, what it is that I can expect from it, and relay that to you out there. So those have been doing pretty good, and I do look forward to doing more of those within 2025. These are in no particular order in terms of like when I played them, what I like about one, is better than the other or anything along that way. These are just a list that I have sitting here in front of me that I'm going to be reading off of, telling you about the games that I played that really stuck with. I played a lot of games, but these are the ones that really stuck with me in my brain and everything throughout the year. And then a bunch of games that I'm looking forward that I want to play that I probably will be playing in 2025. But before I do any of that, I'm going to ask you guys right now, call to action for our family meeting. Let me know what you are anticipating for 2025 down in the comment section below. And of course, what are some of your favorite games that you played in 2024? They don't have to be brand new games that released this year. It's, again, if it's new to you, then that's all that matters. It doesn't matter how old the game. You could have played Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid for the first time this year. That's a new game to you, and I would love to hear your opinion on that as well. That's, of course, going to come up a little bit later within this, but for right now, let's start all the way with a small game. Gloomhaven, Buttons and Bugs. This was a surprise to me. This game turned out to be one heck of an experience because, man, the game was just, I think I have it up here. Let me just, it's so tiny. It's so small. You guys have played anybody out there have played Gloomhaven? Do you know like the box is like this big by this big? You could fit like 20 of these inside of the Gloomhaven campaign box. It is nuts. How much game, how much kind of story or whatever, but how much fun and game time experience you can get out of this little box right here. I know I'm currently playing this on the channel right now. I'm working my way through it a little bit. There was a few months that I didn't play and I had to jump back into it or whatever, but just playing that one game with it and everything. Apologize for the crackling of the microphone. I hope that I fixed it. It's so much fun, and it fascinates me every single time I simply look at this because I know what the big one is and how much of that actually translate really well into this small box. Next, another fun one that I played this year that I was looking forward to and so happy that I got and was able to finally get it to the table was Let's Go to Japan. This is a travel style planning game where you are in the first phase of the game of sorts, planning out your trip to Japan, what events you're going to do each day, what order they're going to go in, what cities you're going to jump between and everything along that ways. And then after everybody has completed all the different turns and everything, putting down cards and making 3 events per day from Saturday to, or was it Monday to Saturday? Because there's the Sunday expansion as well. Then you go into phase 2 where it's a story. You sit down and you talk about it and you work from left to right and you could just go, I went here, I did this, here's how many points. This, how many points. The thing I love most about Let's Go to Japan is that story making aspect where you can sit there and pretend like you actually went to Japan and these were the things that you did on your day and how it affected you and what you learned and things along that way. It was just, it's so much fun. And it was the last game my wife and I actually sat down and played. She really doesn't play much with me nowadays in terms of board games and everything. In the future she will be, because, you know, hooray on her getting her new job starting in January of 2025. But this was the last one that we sat down and played together, and it was just a blast. It was so much fun watching her come up with these stories as well, and it was just fun, that interaction type deal. So let's go to Japan. Even though I didn't play it for you guys, I did do the let's talk about it, and it's still something that I enjoyed pulling out every so often, because it's a beautiful game in its own right. Another interesting one that I got, that I played quite a bit, I tried to bring it to the channel, but I just couldn't do it. I'm going to try again next year, just to see how it works out and everything. But Weirdwood Manor. This is a game that really interested me a lot when it came out on Kickstarter, I want to say a year and a half ago, give or take, because I always seem to draw to these games that are based off of books. And this is like a young adult series, so it's not exactly a super hard read, but you know, I have The Reckoners over there, and I've read those books only because I got that game, and I love those books, so I'd love to check out the Weirdwood Manor stuff. The actual game itself is huge. It's a massive board where you actually rotate this like clock area where you're going through these different days, and it opens and shuts different doors, giving you different paths and everything like that. There's no set movement to it. You can go from room to room as you wish, but you have to watch out where the enemies are. There's a lot of really, it's kind of chunky, as I would call it, because there's a lot of, not a lot of mechanics, but there's a lot of things to consider each time you play, between the resources that you can collect and the cards that you can play and how you play them and when you play them, because you play them to different times of day. I think one of the first things I'm going to do with this in the beginning of the year is do a let's talk about it, just so I can get a few more of these ideas out there to you guys and give you a true full opinion on it. I loved it. I think it's a great game, but there's still some weirdness to it. But then like just kind of go from there and maybe play a game. I'd like to. It's just a really long game. Next, I want to talk about some of the games that the Op sent me. Thank you so much to you guys out there. We've been working a lot this year, and I know that I did a lot for you guys, especially with that one series. But for right now, let's talk about Gnome Hollow. I did do a let's talk about it for that. That was my very first attempt at the review series, and I think it went off great. That was one that man, if I had more people to play with, I would want to play that game as often as possible. It is fun, it is whimsical, and it is just a great time strategizing how you lay the tiles down in order to form all the different circles and everything to score the points and things along that ways. New Year's Eve, you know, going into the new year, a tradition my wife and I have is we usually sit down and we play board games. Last year we played I Love Cats into the new year. I want to see if maybe like Gnome Hollow or something like that will be something that we'll play, you know, going through midnight and everything, you know, yay, 2025 for board games, hurrah! So that's kind of on my list in the hopes to play. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, that was a fun one to play, just to see other people play it and for me to experience it and to also gain it into my collection from the Op, which again, you guys are amazing. Speaking of the Op, one of my big series that I did for the second half of the year or the later part of the year from September through the beginning of this month even was going through every single box for Avatar Aang's Destiny. This is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oh my God, that was so much fun. I can't believe that I managed to pull all of that off, being able to not only just play the games for you guys, but really show off what makes each box unique and individual and what it adds to the overall growing story of it. But then just going through the story from beginning to end, that was the most interesting way I've ever watched the series ever in my life, by getting the footage that I needed for these games, for these sessions that I played for you guys. And even before that, prepping myself in order to be able to do this entire series was insane. Like my buddy Paul came over and we played, I think, box 1 through 5 in one day, in like one straight sitting. Like he had to go home and whatever, and I think we lost that last box or whatever, but it didn't matter. It was still so much fun and still amazing and engaging, and just really drew me into the world of Avatar as I was hoping that it would. So that was that might be my #1 pick for my personal favorite game for the year, though the one that's on the bottom of this list is probably going to be it. But before we get to that, I want to talk about the Solo Heroes series. Now, I played Unstoppable, an early version of that game earlier this year when that went up on Kickstarter. Huge thank you again to Renegade for sending me that copy. It wasn't mine. I had to send it back. And, you know, if you know out there who knows what happened with that situation. It was a lot of fun to play. It was a great time to show off, and I was really happy that that came out. This is actually something I'm waiting to play in 2025 because it hasn't been released yet. Though I count that I played it this year because I did technically for the video. So I know what I'm getting into, I know what's coming, and I can't wait to get it in order to continue playing it, see what any of the changes were from the original to the final product, and then just keep playing with like the expansions and the new stuff and things along that ways. From there, the Solo Hero series is really like amazingly opening up for me. Like, I got Wreckland's Run not too long ago from my buddy. My buddy Paul bought it, he didn't like it, and he gave it to me. So I've been playing it, and I actually really like it. I enjoy the way it runs. I enjoy the mechanics of it and everything. People are saying that it's the weakest of all the Solo Hero series games, and if I can love it this much, then all the rest of them are absolutely amazing by far. I haven't got the expansion for it. I got to get that and everything, but it was a lot of fun. Just recently, Black Friday sale through Renegade, they put Proving Grounds and Warp's Edge on sale. I only got Warp's Edge. I got Warp's Edge. I got the Anomaly expansion, and I think the tokens or whatever. Why is the Viren stuff not available, Renegade? Can you please make that available? Because my FOMO is going crazy. I don't have it yet. I don't have Warp's Edge yet. That is going to be part of my 2025 stuff and everything. It should be, actually, might even be outside right now. But as far as the Solo Hero series go, I'm very happy that I was able to get introduced to all of those games, because now I can see how this series is starting to evolve, all the different mechanics and story types and everything for each one, but knowing that each one is a true, fun solo experience. I'll get the Proving Grounds eventually, but you know, I'm enjoying what I have so far. Now, I've played a lot of games throughout this year, some of them more than others. Some of them I sat down, maybe played once or twice in order to get the hang of it and everything, to see if it's something that I wanted to do for the channel or wanted to show one of my friends or things along that ways, or just maybe start doing that, you know, let's talk about series or whatever. But there was a game that I got recently in a trade that is an older game that this is the first time I've ever played this game, ever. It's always had huge remarks and huge like standings and everything and all these like top lists and stuff like that. And it was on my radar to get. I never got it. I had the opportunity to do it for this trade. And I think it might be my #1 game of the year. And that, my friends, actually is Aeon's End. I mean, this is like, you talk to anybody who has a top whatever deck builder list, Aeon's End continuously and almost guarantee will fall within the top 3 spaces, often taking the #1 spot. It was something that was like a mystery to me. Like, how is this so good? Why do people say it's so great? I sat down and played it. I've only had this game for about a month and a half or whatever, maybe 2 months right about now. I must have played it like 7 or 8 times or whatever. And this is just the base game. I just have the base game. I don't have any of the expansions for it. That thing's been out since 2016. There's like 20 expansions for that, including one that just came out this year. So, with that said, let's flow into what it is that I want to play in 2025, with the first things being various Aeon End expansions. Now, there was actually a really conveniently uploaded video that went out, I want to say a week or so after I received this, that was a complete buyer's guide for Aeon's End, and that was amazing. It didn't include the one for this year because the person doing the guide had not played it or got their hands on the one that came out this year that was just recently in the expansion. I ended up going onto my Amazon list and putting, I want to say, 8 or 9 of the expansions, and those include, I think, 2 big boxes, and then like, no, it's got to be less than that. It's like 2 big boxes and like 6 little boxes, so like 8. For the expansions for the game. And I was trying to like really consider which ones I wanted, because if I get the smaller ones, those will fit into that box a lot better than if I get a big box. But if I get a big box, then I can fit more into it. It's a back and forth thing like that. So yes, I think 2025 is going to be Aeon's End year for me personally. I'm going to try my best in order to get all of these different expansions, really create a wild game. And then who knows, maybe do something for it in the future. I know the game has been around forever. There's 1,000 different playthroughs of it. But hey, what's one more going to hurt? So what's coming in 2025, but should be coming in 2025 because people are getting the retail edition of this game right now, I'm seeing it on BGG and everything, is Metal Gear Solid. We know CMON cannot really keep to a schedule. I wasn't expecting it to be in the beginning of 2024 at all. I was actually expecting it to have it by now, by the end of this year. But, you know, now it looks like it's not coming till January, February-ish, maybe, who knows, thank you CMON, of 2025. The retail version of this game is being released. I've been seeing people post pictures of it. I got the integral version, which is like upgraded pieces, the Metal Gear Rex figure, things along that way. So I guess they're a little bit more behind in terms of shipping that out. So I'm very confident that it's coming in 2025. Don't know when, don't know how soon, how late, or anything along that ways. But it is coming, and once I get it, that's going to be, you're going to see that on this list at the end of next year because I will absolutely be playing it for you guys. I'll be going through campaigns like that. I don't know if I'm going to be as detailed with like some of the things as I was with the Avatar series, but we're going to have a fun time with it regardless. Another one that's coming that we're going to have a fun time with, Final Girl Series 3. Yes, oh my goodness, they're saying it should be here in early 2023, so like February-ish is what I'm going with, but I don't care. I don't care. Let it show up. Let it appear. Let it get here. I'm going to do the unboxings. I'm going to do my scans. I'm going to do my playthroughs. I'm just, oh, this is going to be so much fun. Just even sitting here, you see how excited I am for this? 13 sessions in, a bunch of other side videos and everything. I get to do my killer lore. And oh man, I can't wait until Series 3 gets here. It has a feature film that I'm looking forward to the most, which is Tremors based. And it's just, it's going to be so much fun getting that and unboxing it and just reading through the cards and seeing all the references and things like that. I've been watching a few of the playthroughs that Van Ryder Games has been putting out. That is like the game for me that may hit my #1 spot for 2025. All right, some games that I backed on Kickstarter earlier in this year or late last year that should be coming out in 2025. First one is the Call of Cthulhu Horror on the Orient Express. I have not really been too much into Call of Cthulhu in the past. I've been getting to a lot more lately. A buddy of mine actually bought me like this giant compendium of H.P. Lovecraft stories, so those are fun to read through and everything. And then, of course, watching that playthrough, watching the game and how that works and everything is just so cool. I love me a nice thematic board that has 3D pieces on it that you can interact with and actually moving around the train and everything back and forth with the monsters behind you and flipping the dice in order to represent the emotions of the characters and everything. It looked so much fun. And I know that Chaosium Games makes some really amazing interactive games along that ways, like Mansion of Madness or any of the Arkham Horror series, things along that ways. But I think Horror on the Orient Express is going to be a fun time. I hopefully will get that, maybe early in the year. I'll do a talk about it and everything, and then wait until October to do a playthrough because it's a, creepy game regardless of anything. But man, it just looks like so much fun and right up my alley for sure. Next would be Core of Discovery from Off the Page Games. I've played Mind MGMT for you guys. I do have Harrow County, which I haven't really sat down to try yet. That will be a Let's Talk About session because they did actually send me over there the expansion for it as well. I figured I might as well just show this off. The Fairfolk expansion for Harrow County. They want to really push this, so I want to put this right here, right now, just to show that I got it. I have acknowledged it and everything. I just haven't done anything with it yet. It's been a really busy last part of the year or whatever. But the Core of Discovery game just looks so much fun, like a pseudo Minesweeper type game where you look at each one of the little spots and everything, you expose it, and then whatever is there is an item that you can use or some type of resource or an enemy that you got to defeat or something along that way. It's like, it was really a lot of fun playing through that game on Tabletop Simulator that I can't wait to actually get it to the table and see how it plays, physically in front of me. That's kind of the big thing that I've been doing a lot this year as well in 2024 is playing TTS games and then excited for when they finally get in front of me and how they translate from one medium to the next. Because you play TTS to kind of get a good idea if you like the game. Personally, to me, if I love it on TTS, I am going to absolutely love it on my tabletop. That's my correlation between the two. Going back into the Solo Hero series game, Warp's Edge, as I mentioned before, which should be here right now. At the point when I made this list, I still hadn't even gotten a notification that it was coming. It was pre-ordered through like the Black Friday sale. It wasn't like a big thing. It was just like pre-order it, but you still get the sale. Cool, why not? So I had no idea when I was going to get it. Between that, Unstoppable, which comes out next year, and an actual new one for the series, Wraith and the Giants, which looks like this Shadow of Colossus style game where you're running up a giant creature and doing all kinds of different things in order to defeat it. Those are all coming within like the same, I would think within the same era. Warp's Edge here now, Unstoppable early, and then maybe like Wraith a little bit later. All part of the solo hero game series, all done by the same designer, which is awesome. And then each one of them having a very unique mechanic to them, just kind of, you know, mixed in with all the other cool stuff that's part of it. So I'm looking forward to Wraith. I really want to see how that plays out, because as a Shadow of the Colossus video game fan, I think that that game is going to be really cool. Which leads me into another game that was very popular this year on GameFound that I wanted to back, but I didn't pull the trigger, and I'm actually regretting it because I loved it on TTS, and I just didn't have the funds or the ability in order to get it, and that's Leviathan Wilds. Oh my goodness, guys. Like, this game was one that the moment I saw, this is before Wraith even was announced, the moment I saw it, I was like, that is Shadow of the Colossus as a board game. That is awesome. You're climbing up these giant creatures. You're doing all types of interactive things with them and everything. They're shaking you off. You're trying to hold on to your grip, and it's like, it's interactive between you and the second player. I'm like, this game is so cool. I didn't do it though. I didn't. I actually think I did back it, but then I realized that I couldn't afford it, so then I had to drop it. And I'm like, oh man, like, it's the one thing that I regret for the year that I was unable to follow through with. Most of the games that I saw, I could really make a good assumption for myself if I'm going to play it, if I'm going to need it. You know, very, very tight budget this year. It's the only one I wish I had kept on, because I know I would have loved that game. I know I would have played the game like crazy, regardless if it's with you guys, you know, through the camera or just on my own. Like, oh man. But Wraith is going to be awesome too. It's going to be around the same idea, different mechanics in its own right. But if I can find a way to get Leviathan Wilds, I'm going to jump on that, like, the best way, in any way that I can, for sure. And just to round this out, there are 2 Kickstarters that I'm looking forward to in 2025. One I know is coming. The other, I don't know is coming, but it should be, because I thought it was coming this year, but it wasn't. The first one is, of course, Power Rangers Heroes of the Grid Eternal Rangers. This is the final farewell to the game. Everything that they put out for this particular campaign is going to be the last products that Renegade makes, as in new stuff for the game. So once that is released, that's going to be the end of it. Anything that you have is it. They do have their special, the creator kit that's going to be involved in it as well, which as of this video, we still don't really know anything about, but hey, we'll see what happens in order for, you know, us to be able to continue making characters for the game and keeping it alive, you know, for a long time to come. But I made an entire video going over that already. The other one that I would love to see come out in 2025, if even possible, is Resident Evil 4, the board game, because I was just really looking forward to that one, hopefully rearing up sometime this past year. I get it. There's a lot in Resident Evil 4 that's new, like brand new for the Resident Evil board game series, at least with 1, 2, and 3. It's all the same zombie movements, the dogs, and like there are certain enemies that like reappear in each one of the games, and each one of the games that they release is kind of a testament to how the game itself is evolving. It's weird that it was released in 2, 3, and 1, but you can see like Resident Evil 2, the board game, extremely basic. Resident Evil 3, the board game, a lot of new stuff added into it that streamline the game, that make it more interesting, that really bring out a lot of the exploratory aspects of it, but also keep that terror going. Resident Evil 1, the board game, which I'm playing right now on the channel, jumping in each one of the different areas, you know, exploring, having rooms that you don't know what's in them until you walk in them. Like, the evolution of the game is awesome. And not only do I look forward to seeing the Resident Evil 4 version of it, but I really am curious if Steamforged Games is going to release I don't want to say an errata, but like an upgrade of sorts for Resident Evil 2 to like give it the Resident Evil 3 and 1 treatment. If anything, a reprinting of the scenario book where there is just a constant A deck throughout the entire game, because I think that's something that's really needed within Resident Evil 2 to make sure you always have different ammo. It's just a little bit different or a little bit more upgraded in order to follow the suit for the other two. But that's a big ask because there's a lot in the Resident Evil 2 game that would need to change in order to be similar to 3 and 1. They could do it, possibly, but it might be something completely different in the future. Who knows? Just things that are off the top of my head. But regardless of anything, that is like my big games that I am anticipating. Now that you've been relaxing and listening to me rant for who knows how long, I want to hear from you. What are some of your top board games that you have played in 2024? And of course, what is it that you are looking forward to in 2025? I saw a bunch of videos that went out, obviously in the beginning of December, based off of PAX Unplugged, where people are like, these are like my tops that I'm looking forward to. So there were some really cool games on these lists that I need to look into a little bit more to see if there's something that'll be interesting to me that I want to add to my collection and everything. My boys are getting bigger. My 3-year-old is really big into board games now. Yes, a 3-year-old is like the one that wants to play. He wants to play like Candyland and Hungry Hippos and everything like that. But I'm getting the Haba games, which are like these German board games that are made for younger kids, and teaching him that. He's very good at taking his turn. He's very good at following directions. My 5-year-old, not so much, but they're learning to play together. You know, he's more of the video games. My 3-year-old is more of the board games. So these are really good things that should be happening in the future, that as they get older, I'll be able to play some fun things with them as well. So, as always, in order not to miss any future fun videos that I put out for you to enjoy, be sure you are subscribed to the Home Gamer Dad. Make that a New Year's resolution to come on back and check me out every so often. Leave your comments, leave your likes, share the video, do the things. It doesn't really matter. You're just sitting there watching this video right now, listening to me wrap up the year as is. It means a whole lot to me, and I thank you guys so much for that. It has been one heck of a 2024. I'm looking forward to the stuff that I'll be putting out in 2025. I believe I mentioned this one. I either mentioned this one or I mentioned in the video game one, because I filmed these back to back and my brain's kind of mush right now. I will be doing a what is it? My biannual update video, which will be coming out kind of the second week of January-ish, because I always take the first week of January off to recover, and then just kind of going from there and seeing what the new year brings. There's a lot going on with my wife getting a new job and me possibly getting something much bigger happening in my life happening that year, but this is a lot of day-to-day experience. See how it goes one by one, but regardless of anything, I will always be here for you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you all so much for all that you do, and all just you being here and being absolutely amazing. Take care of yourselves and each other. We are family forever, gaming together. Happy New Year, everyone. I will see you in 2025. Take care. And again, Happy New Year.